Today is a crucial day for Sri Lanka. The island nation's parliament began voting to elect a new deputy speaker. Now, Sri Lanka Freedom Party, or the SLFP, has put forward the name of Ranjit Siyambalapitiya. Political party SLPP has thrown its support behind Siyambalapitiya's nomination, while main opposition party, the SJB, has put forward the name of Imtiaz Bakir Markar. Now, remember, just yesterday, Siyambalapitiya confirmed that his resignation from the post of former deputy speaker was accepted by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Mahinda Rajapaksa, who is himself facing calls to resign from the post of Prime Minister, was seen casting his vote in the parliament as well. The Sri Lankan Prime Minister recently refused reports of his resignation and said that he was confident of winning the no-confidence motion, which is another crucial test for the Rajapaksa government. The main opposition, SJB, has handed over two motions to the Parliament Speaker, one against the President, the other against the coalition government headed by his brother and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The motion yet to be tabled. Now, just yesterday in the Parliament, Finance Minister Ali Sabri painted a dire picture of the country's economic plight. The island nation is critically short of foreign exchange and has sought an emergency bailout from the International Monetary Fund. Inflation and shortage of imported food, fuel and medicine have led to weeks of protests. In the wake of the crisis, the finance minister shared plans to replace its current unrealistic budget. Working in the same direction, the nation is in talks with World Bank to extend its support by $300 million to $700 million. Within the next 2 weeks, Sri Lanka will appoint financial and legal advisors for a proposed restructure of its sovereign debt. And for more on this, joining us live is Dasuni Athoda from Colombo. Dasuni, thank you so much for joining us. The island nation's parliament began voting to elect a new deputy speaker. Let's start by talking about the developments so far. Also, as we know that the Prime Minister faces a no-confidence motion. What can you tell us about that?
It's a very good morning, and well, actually, as of right now, what we know so far is that close to 80 to 90 MPs out of the 225 elected representatives in Parliament have cast their vote in the secret ballot. Now, at the start of the morning, there was a little bit of confusion as to how this vote is to be carried out. We had opposition MPs, Lakshman Kiriyala, along with the opposition leader, Sajid Premadasa, who were against this secret ballot, the process in which it was being conducted, as they would rather prefer an electronic vote, one being that it is more transparent and the other being that it would have been much faster, given that it has been over an hour and still half the parliament is also yet to vote. The other interesting factor is that the deputy speaker nomination that was put forward by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party is essentially the previous deputy speaker who just yesterday, not even 24 hours ago in Parliament, confirmed that he has in fact received the approval, or that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has in fact accepted his letter of resignation, to which the public has now been strongly criticizing this move, providing that this is an utter waste of time, given that if the previous deputy speaker is once again nominated, what was really the point? But this time we do also have a candidate from the SJB, MP Imtiaz Bakir Markar. So within the next few hours, we will get to know, after the voting concludes, as to who exactly will be the deputy speaker of the Sri Lankan Parliament, which is also a definite indication as to who has secured the majority in Parliament since the political crisis broke off here in Sri Lanka.
Right, absolutely, Dasuni. Now, a few points here. Sri Lanka will also appoint financial and legal advisors for a proposed restructure of its sovereign debt. Now, we yesterday saw that Finance Minister painted a dire picture of the plight of the nation. What sort of restructuring are we looking at here, and how efficacious do you think the national government could be?
Well, it is interesting because this whole topic of debt restructuring is something, a word that has been widely used through and through over the past few weeks. And yes, we are expecting the appointment of experts to look into this. And it's also interesting is that when a lot of countries are currently here in Sri Lanka or even around providing support for Sri Lanka's efforts of debt restructuring, China earlier did say that they do not prefer this mode or route of debt restructuring. However, Finance Minister just yesterday did assure that China has shown some form of a positive response to this effort. And it will be really interesting to see how Sri Lanka will navigate itself out of this so-called debt restructuring. We are yet to see the methods and the processes. So that itself is also a big development the whole country is looking out for at the moment.
Right, absolutely, Dasuni. We do It's yet to be seen how Sri Lanka navigates its way out of this crisis. Thank you for bringing us all the updates on this. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.